Okay, here we go. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the inaugural episode of our new show here on CinemaQuestria, This Week in Pony. For episode 1, getting the show on the road. Pretty much what we're going to be doing in this discussion show is pretty much talking about any sort of news relating to My Little Pony or the fandom or anything surrounding the show at all, merchandise, stuff like that, as well as maybe exploring some fandom works and whatnot that we found that we wanted to highlight and discuss. So pretty much this isn't really so much a news show as a news discussion show, where all of us here in the call and everyone here in the chat as well can kind of just discuss news, sort of like how we do on Triple E, but just more of a broad subject versus just discussing a singular episode, which, by the way, we will be having that coming back as well tomorrow, and we'll be talking about the Season 4 premiere of Princess Twilight Sparkle. So, I'm Rain Shadow, I'll be your host today, and I'm joined by a few people on the call. If they want to introduce themselves here.
And I'm Matt Shadow.
Hey everyone, it's Mr. Ben. I actually introduced myself, but I didn't realize I had my mic muted, so how's it going, everyone?
So, yeah, we'll just kind of get started here. Let's see if I can lower the music a little bit. It doesn't seem as loud on my end, but I think everyone's just kind of talking a little softer than I do, so. Anyway.
Surprised that Tim can barely hear me over the music. I'm usually the loudest of the bunch.
So anyway, we are going to go ahead and we'll get started off here right away with our Pony Express, which is our kind of feature article here, our top story that we can discuss. So we'll have kind of a highlight story every show that we have here on the Pony Express. So the first story we have today, and really the only bit of show news we have, is obviously Hiatus. Not quite close to this new season or the movie, so we're not getting a lot of show news coming up, but that will probably change within the coming months as we get closer towards spring. So the first piece of news here is Michael. I'm pronouncing his name right. Gagne. Who is he's working one of the people that is working on the My Little Pony movie. He's a very famous effects animator for animation, and he's been working at DHX on the effects animation for the My Little Pony movie. So he has extended his contract with DHX by a couple months to continue working with them there. So let me see if I can bring that article up here on my side as well. But he pretty much said he's learning to work within the production pipeline. You get greater flexibility and creative control. And there's still a lot to do, and they haven't really started on a lot of the big stuff yet in terms of the effects animation. So they asked him if they could extend his contract by another additional 2 months, and so he'd be staying to work on that as well. He's been as his website there is his kind of his blog there where he stated this, and he's been really posting a lot of really cool things about the movie, and little tiny updates. Seems to be very excited to be working on the movie as well. So
I believe he's delayed his involvement with the next Spider-Man movie to do the effects in that as well, and I believe Sony has sort of allowed that for him. So yeah, he's sort of moved. He's basically sort of shifted his schedule so that he's working longer with Hasbro on the MLP movie.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just really looking forward to. I mean, obviously looking forward to the movie, but just having an actual 2D animated feature that isn't just being animated in Flash, but actually being animated more traditional style and Toon Boom Harmony is something that's pretty exciting, because it's not something we really see a lot of anymore in the features. It's very rare that you see any traditionally drawn 2D animated feature. Most everything is CG now, with the only things you see that
at
are
least in the West.
That's what I'm saying. With the only things that are traditionally 2D animated are coming out of Japan and some of the other Asian markets, but not really much coming out of the Western markets, especially here in the U.S. So it's kind of going to be very much an anomaly based on that, and I'm really interested to see they kind of brought in some of the bigger, some really talented people for the animation. So it'd be interesting to see what they're able to do with that.
I say, yeah, I'm really glad that they're finally getting around to doing that, specifically because we don't have a bunch of traditionally animated movies in America anymore.
Well, the last traditionally animated movie I can think of that was worth anything of a damn was the last Winnie the Pooh movie that got a theatrical release, but that sort of didn't do very well at all at the box office.
Yeah, I believe that's one of the last ones to come out of the United States.
Yeah, I mean, the last one that probably took decent money was probably The Princess and the Frog, and that was 2009. So that's
and even that underperformed their expectation. That's sort of why
you're getting close on to 8 years ago.
Yeah, and that's sort of why Disney kind of rebranded and sort of redid how they marketed a lot of their animated movies, going into like Tangled and Frozen, where they have completely different kinds of titles for those movies. Unlike The Princess and the Frog or some of their older movies, they kind of a little more ambiguous titles and changed the way they marketed them than they did with their previous movies in the 90s and with Princess and the Frog. They pretty much just made Princess and the Frog pretty much exactly like they would have at their 90s things. It was a really good movie, but it wasn't quite as successful because of they didn't really change the marketing strategy towards a newer generation. It'd be really interesting to see how the Pony movie is marketed, both in TV and trailers and stuff. Especially for those who might not be familiar with the show, because I'm assuming they're going to probably want to make the trailer be very appealing to people who may not have any experience with the show at all. So I'm kind of interested to see where they go with that as well.
That's something I think that a lot of people need to realise when the movie does come out, is a lot of people are going to be expecting it to be some kind of continuation of the show, and to some degrees it's probably going to have bits and pieces, but overall I think Hasbro's primary objective is to try and get a new generation of kids to be involved, because most of the kids that liked the show from 2010 have pretty much probably grown out of MLP. They've probably moved on to other shows geared to an older demographic. So I'm not saying that's all the case, because obviously the show's had sort of quite a lot of broad appeal, but I mean, I'm talking about just sort of in general. I think the whole idea with this will probably be some sort of mini soft reset in the sense of the story will probably be quite self-contained.
The funny thing that I see is I definitely notice a lot of younger people entering kind of the fandom now as well, which is kind of funny. I think it's a lot of people who actually did kind of grow up with it as younger kids, kind of still following the show as they get older, which is kind of funny, being just realizing how long the show has actually gone on. It's been going on for now. But yeah, I mean, I totally agree with what Matt says. I not just because introducing a new, more younger kids to Pony, but just because with a movie, obviously, and especially a theatrical release, not talking about like Equestria Girls or something that's going to get a DVD or television release or Netflix release, but with a theatrical release, you want to make sure your movie has a broad appeal. And as popular as Pony is, you can't expect everyone that's going to see the movie to be very familiar with the show or even have watched the show at all, because if you limit yourself to that, you're really limiting the potential of the movie. So people hopefully going into it are going to have to realize that they're probably going to be retreading a few things that seem very obvious to us as people who might have been watching the show for 6 years, but it's something it's stuff that they have to do for new viewers. I'm sure they'll have some quick reintroductions of the characters and kind of who they are and what their character is as well, because you have to familiarize yourself with that. And I also really think that it's going to be a very small cast in terms of characters coming from the show. We're going to have the main 6. Maybe Starlight will make an appearance in it, but I think everything else is. But I think, I mean, and Spike obviously will be there, but I think that's going to be, probably get Celestia and Luna will be in there in some form, obviously. But I think most of the movie is going to center around the main 6 and Spike, and then a bunch of new characters, just because that's the easiest way to make a movie about an existing show that you still want to have new people be able to get into it. If you start throwing in a bunch of characters from the show, you're going to have to reintroduce all of them, which is just going to take more movie time. So I mean, we already know like Discord
cameos?
Isn't going to be in it. Yeah, maybe short cameos, but you're not going to really see them that much, if at all. And people need to realize that.
Yeah, I think the best example that you can possibly give and probably an example of it being done quite well is the Simpsons movie, where obviously it's based on a successful TV show and then moving it to a movie. I think, like you say, the cast in that is it's pretty much mostly just the family. I mean, yeah, there's obviously the town as well, and it's sort of the family versus the town, but for the majority of the movie, you only really have sort of the family basically for a good portions of the film.
Yeah, and that's pretty much how it's going to be. I mean, I so don't get excited if you don't see much of like the CMC or some of the other side or minor characters in the movie that much, or if at all. It's definitely they're gonna have to focus on the main 6. Even focusing on the main cast and Spike, that's already 7 characters that you have to focus on for the movie, which is a lot. So there's gonna have to be some focus, and I wouldn't be surprised if the movie focuses more on Twilight like we did with a lot of the earlier 2-parters as well, just because you have to have some sort of focus in it. It's you don't want to spread everything too thin. So we can go ahead and we can move on to the next piece. Like I said, we don't have any more show news today. Really light on the show news. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and we're going to go to our next section here, which we have a little bit more of to talk about right now, and that's merchandise news. For anything pony related merchandise, official merchandise really, from the show. So we'll start out with the first story we have in this section, which is we have some more info about the Tales of Equestria, the official My Little Pony Friendship is Magic RPG, which is coming out pretty soon. Let me get that article.
Sadly, it's coming out on tabletop, not on a games console.
Yeah, it's an RPG. it's like. Yeah, I mean, it's coming out. It's it's pretty much Dungeons and Dragons. It's a tabletop role playing game for it.
That's what I'm definitely looking forward to. If we can maybe get like an online version of that too, that would be something I would request we could do for something for like game night, or not even just game night, but just as like a offshoot thing we could do on every so often.
Yeah, and it looks pretty cool. I mean, I've never really played Dungeons and Dragons at all, but this looks like really kind of a cool thing. It's something I still blows my mind that something like this is even being officially released at all for it. It's just something that I guess never really would have never expected to happen. So it has the Tales of Equestria is the name of the RPG. It comes with a core rulebook, which will be 152 full color hardcover rulebook, as well as a story box set, which includes the Curse of the Statuettes, which is the first kind of official story for the RPG game, which includes the adventure book, GM screen, 6 polyhedral dice, and character sheets in it as well. And there's a few photos of here that they included on this article. This is from ICV2. Had a really nice story. Definitely check it out. Probably put some show notes. I haven't gotten around to editing the website, but on the website's show, on our show page on CinemaQuestria.com, we will have show notes on there with kind of links to all these articles if you want to actually check them out. But this one's on ICP2, and it's a very nice article and has all these different photos here, so we can kind of view some of these different shots of the game itself. So this one right here is an entire game set with the Game Master board, all the dice, and the cover for the Curse of the Statuettes, as well as the character sheets, or pony sheets, as they say there. There's also a nice video, I forget where it was on YouTube, of an interview with the head of who was working on this, or whatever, I forget what company was putting this out, but the head of this project from that company had a nice interview on there. Here's a closer look at that. River Horse, that was the company. River Horse was putting this out. Here's a closer view of that first story pack, The Curse of the Statuettes, there, with some nice art on the front there. Obviously centering around Daring Do. You can see like I want to say, I guess, a stoned Daring Do, but not that kind of stoned. There in the back that they're putting about. I can't tell if that's actually full-size Daring Do or some sort of small
only tree
statue.
Hugger is that stone.
Huh?
Only tree hugger is that stoned.
Let's see. So let's see the next one here. That was the rule book. The previous one was the rule book. This is the storybook, I believe. Again, you got the cover on it. A couple of the OC characters, but pretty much for this game, on the character sheets, just like most, you design your own character, and they give you kind of a little base template on the character sheet to kind of draw your own pony there.
Or I could just trace Fluttershy.
And here's some of the stuff in the books here. I believe these are some shots from the rule book itself, just some sample pages that they had posted on the article there. So kind of giving you an in-depth type of, like, here we have a description of Earth ponies and sort of what they are and what their abilities are as well. As well as you can see one of their talents is Stoutheart D6, and it gives you a whole rundown of that with art from the show, vectors from the show as well. We kind of have a lot of different shots of like this. So here's the pony sheet, which will tell you sort of how to create your own pony, how to select a race of it, and we have Starlight there as well as a level and the element of harmony that your pony wants to be associated with.
Kind of wonder if we can maybe make up our own little elements of harmony, but official rules, we're probably going to have to pick one of the original 6 to associate ourselves with.
Yeah, I think they had said that just for simplicity's sake, they sort of just had those pre-made.
We should have new elements. I want to be the element of fish and chips governor.
What would that cutie mark even look like?
Well, a fish and some chips, which is fries in America, basically, but chunkier.
So yeah, that's the Tales of Equestria MLP RPG that's coming out, and I don't think this article has a release date on it for it, but that is coming out this year. I believe in the interview they said it was kind of going to be like a lot of other things, sort of timed with the next season of the show. So it might come out sometime in the spring, March or April, I would assume.
But isn't it amazing that something that's kind of like Dungeons and Dragons is being made? There's something from a My Little Pony show being made for that anyway. That they feel that there's actually a market for that. I just find that absolutely incredible.
Yeah, I mean, and it's kind of cool too, because I mean, it's marketed towards kids, so kind of getting maybe kids involved in something like Dungeons and Dragons kind of thing is kind of a cool thing as well. But yeah, I totally agree. It's like when I first heard about this being announced, it was like, really? That's not something I would expect. I mean, I would definitely expect this to come out of the fandom, but not something that's officially licensed by Hasbro. So,
although to be fair, Hasbro is sitting on D&D, so they got to use it for something.
It's kind of funny though. It's not being put out by Wizards of the Coast though. Let's see. So moving on to our next story here. Pony toys are returning to McDonald's, at least in New Zealand for now. So you kind of have a little picture there of some of those toys, and I'm assuming these are eventually going to be working their way to other markets as well. But as of right now, we only know of them in New Zealand. This time it includes a figure with a pretty nice looking mold on it for each of them, and each of them also includes an accessory. So they each have different little things they do with her. One has a comb. Fluttershy spits out stickers or something, it looks like, out of that. So it looks like Rainbow Dash has a comb as well. So they each kind of...
I don't remember that episode.
You don't remember the episode where Fluttershy spits out stickers? Wow, that was a good episode. Apparently stickers of Twilight and Rarity too, as well. These are the only ones I see.
Only the best ponies for best pony.
Yeah, I'm pretty angry. There's no mention of Applejack here, so that's. But maybe they're just they're saving Best Pony for special limited edition. So we'll see.
So limited, she never gets released.
And what's up with Twilight's face there? I mean, it looks like something pulled from the Twilight Licious video. Just like little kind of head bob and slight smile on it. With the slight bedroom eyes. I mean, it literally looks like it's pulled out of the Twilight Licious fan video. So we're not quite done with toys yet. We still have a lot more official toys coming from Hasbro. Most of these were just released within the past couple of weeks here. So there's a lot of new pony toys, all with new molds, some new plushes, and new Guardians of Harmony figures as well. So all these toys include brand new molds for the brushables with gala dress figures, some plushes, new Equestria Girl minifigures, a Rarity Boutique catwalk playset, a Play-Doh, a new My Little Pony Play-Doh set, and a freaking badass Chrysalis figure, which I didn't have time to put my picture on it, but I got it, and it is huge. It's almost as big as the Discord one, and you'll see the picture coming up here, but that picture doesn't do justice how big it is. It's ridiculous. Most of these are obviously available from Amazon and other toy retailers, brick and mortar stores as well have most of these items. And they also, all the new toys are sporting the new movie style logo with a different color scheme. They don't say the My Little Pony movie on it yet, but they do have the new color scheme of the logo, which has a lot more purple in it as well. So you'll see that in some of these images coming up here. So this one here is, there's that logo. These are the gala dress photos. So I really, really love, first thing I want to say before we get to these is I really love the box art that they have on these. All the new toys, the Guardians of Harmony ones, the regular line, the fan series one, have this little mosaic at the top of all of the different ponies, all these different vectors of all the ponies, some of them multiple times in different costumes on it. And you'll see like every single pony from the show in there, even like very, very obscure ones and a lot of the fan favorite ponies as well.
Please tell me there's one with Whoa Nelly on.
Actually, I didn't see that, but it could be. I have to look, because obviously different boxes are different sizes, so you have to kind of get the bigger boxes to get the full picture. I know they did have Derpy next to Dr. Hooves.
Well, you'd think that Nelly would therefore be on the Discord and Chrysalis fan series, considering how enormous they are, because only Discord is bigger than Chrysalis.
Yeah.
It's huge, like massive.
Oh yeah, I forgot to mention, because that picture we had before of the Equestria Girls minis, which are really good looking. They have Adagio. Unfortunately, only Adagio. I was a little disappointed there was no Sonata, but there was a really cool Adagio that I'm hoping I'll be able to get my hands on, because it was sold out on Amazon by the time I looked. I was able to get my 6th Applejack Equestria Girls minifigure, but help me please. But yeah, these are the gala dress ones, so you can see they have sort of like a semi-show accurate gala dress from the season. I believe from the season. These are from the ones from the season 1 finale, and as well as the vectors from that as well, with their dresses on there as well, which is really nice. The boxes have even more art on the back, which if you take a look at it, it's really cool. They really upped their packaging design with all these new lines. Let's see what the next one is. Next one here is the plushes. So they don't have those 4DE, I believe, plushes with the ones that were officially licensed before. Hasbro actually has started making their own now. So these are official Hasbro-produced plushes that are also available in retailers. I'm a little disappointed, no hat on Applejack, but that's bring your own hat. So yeah, they're pretty nice. They're a little cheap looking. You gotta like the little dinky wings on on the Pegasi. But you know, for kind of like the first effort, they're pretty good.
Everyone's Scootaloo.
Yeah, I think most plushies, especially the mass-produced ones, always come out a little derpy looking for them. So they're not too bad. The cutie marks are pretty much spot on though on them. The sewing on the cutie marks, which is nice. Let's see. The next one is. So yeah, here's some of the new molds. There's a couple different brushable sets that I'll be showing here. For it, this is the first brushable set. So you can see the new molds on them. I actually really like them. I think they look a little bit better in person, but compared to the previous ones, they look so much better. And the one thing you'll notice about this one and the next set of molds, I'll show a few more images down, is that each of them have their own poses for each of the different characters. So it isn't just like before. The brushable molds were literally pretty much the same mold, head, body, everything in the same exact pose for all the characters, and they just swapped out the cutie marks and the colors. But here,
Fluttershy was literally a rainbow dash recolor initially.
But I mean, they all the toys were literally the same molds for all of them. But now you can see they each have their own different poses for them. You have Cheerilee here, Applejack with a barrel of apples, and they each have their own little accessory too. Like Cheerilee's a book, Fluttershy has some sort of squirrel that looks like he's about to get stomped on his head. He looks very scared. Yeah, I really like. So they have more variety in the molds. I think they look a little bit better than the old ones did as well. Yeah, they're a lot more G4-y than the previous ones were. So here's the Rarity runway playset. Again, has the new mold for Rarity as well. Very small, simple kind of thing. You just kind of snap on the clothes. And the clothes move back and forth.
It's lacking a lot of aeroplanes. Oh, not that sort of runway.
Maybe it is that kind of run. Maybe Rarity just kind of takes off when you slide it down.
I'm now imagining the Equestria Girls version of Rarity being an air stewardess.
Yeah. And you can also see the box art and stuff with the Rarity with their sewing glasses and stuff, which is really cool. Yeah, I really noticed in the past year and a half here, Hasbro has really upped their toy game in terms of the design and just the amount of effort put into it. I believe they had someone take over the toys for the My Little Pony line about a year and a half ago, which got some news on Equestria Daily, and of course kind of caused all hell to break loose in terms of, the show's ending because they're bringing someone new for the toys, so obviously they're going to reboot the franchise and cancel the show and whatnot. But if this is kind of what came out of that, I mean, kudos to the team that's making that, and the new leadership for the Ponytail line, because I mean the box art, the new molds, the fan series stuff, the Guardians of Harmony stuff, the Wonderbolts toy line that came out, it's really cool. They're all really cool. They look really good, and most importantly, they're following the show. It's not the toys dictating the show; it's the show dictating the toys, and they're all based off episodes from the show. We see that a lot in the My Little Pony collection one as well, where we had Applejack's collection and then Pinkie Pie's collection. I believe Rarity is the next one, where they're all based on stuff from the show. And it looks really cool. Some of the Wonderbolts figures are really, really funny. If you haven't seen the Wonderbolts figures, I believe they're exclusive at Target, and they're really, really funny. And they have like big versions of them and small versions of them. Of course, they have a collection of like all the Wonderbolts toys, but they have one that are of the main six dressed in their costumes from the Testing 1, 2, 3 episode. So they have like Fluttershy as like Admiral Fairy Flight and stuff, and they have like the Fairy Flight design on her with like the outrageously humorous large cats as well. So it's really cool. I definitely recommend taking a look at those, because it's just kind of cool seeing stuff from the show like that in toy form.
Can I just mention? You mentioned that they were exclusive to Target. Obviously, that's in the US. Here in the UK, I believe they're exclusive to Smiths. That's Smiths with
usually
a Y, not WH Smiths, because that's a completely another company that also does sometimes sell toys.
That's confusing.
It's Smiths. They're mostly a news agents, WH Smiths, whereas Smiths Toys is obviously just a toy shop.
Yeah, I've noticed that Smiths usually carries a lot of stuff in the UK that are exclusive to certain retailers in the US. Usually they get the exclusive stuff.
Yeah. Which is funny because I don't think they've got anything to do with Target, so...
Yeah, no. So yeah, here's some more the additional brushable figures, again with the different poses on each of them. So you got this really excited looking Rarity with her hoof cut up and her sewing glasses on. You got a very royal looking Princess Twilight Sparkle there. I think the Lyra one, only looks derpy just because she's looking at the camera. I noticed a lot of the shots where they have the face looking right towards the camera, they look really kind of weird in the picture, but I've seen the Lyra in person, and it doesn't look quite that derpy in person when you're not looking at it from that particular angle there. But again, it's really, really nice new molds. I mean, I'm really enjoying the new molds that they have for all of these. And I think this next one here is the Chrysalis one. So this is the fan series Queen Chrysalis and Changelings one. So this is the same line that had like the Discord on the throne and the really badass Celestia and Nightmare Moon ones that we got before. And so this is the next fan series one, and this one is just amazing. It looks even better in person. It's a really, really big figure. I mean, imagine I can't even, I'd have to measure it, but it's a really big one. It's almost as big. If you've seen the Discord throne one in person, it's almost as big as that. It's bigger than the Celestia and Nightmare Moon fan series figures, which were pretty big to begin with. But I mean, just look at that the posing on it, or her face and everything. It's, I mean, just like not something I would ever expect to see from the toy line.
They're gonna make me cry.
Yeah,
I've already ordered this, but I've ordered it from America because there's nowhere in the UK that has this yet, and it's like I'm gonna weep when I get the bill for the import costs, aren't I?
So yeah, these are all from showing from images from Entertainment Earth here. This one here is from Amazon. This shot here. So this one is available on Amazon. It was. I don't know if it's sold out or not, but it was available on Amazon if you wanted to do it, and probably on Hasbro's toy website as well. I ordered this from Amazon, but the past couple of toys that I've ordered, I've actually ordered directly from Hasbro, and their shipping, at least to my area, must be pretty close because it usually arrives quicker than Amazon does. But yeah, even the hole, has all the holes in the mold there, and just that posing and the changelings. And this is all one figure too. It's a solid figure, so all of the changelings are attached to that kind of glowing green stuff that's wrapped around them all. So it's one solid kind of figure. It's not like an actual toy. It is actually sort of a display figure, as are most of the things in the fan series line. But again, just like between like these fan series lines and the Guardian of Harmony figures as well, just which have also gotten some new toys released in the past couple weeks for that line. I think they had the cheese sandwich one with the cannon. That one was released recently as well. You can find that in most retailers. But just wow, I would have never thought that toys. I mean, I never was really into the toys, even though I was into the show, until maybe the past year and a half, where I've bought a ton of stuff because they look actually so good, and there's obviously up to their game in terms of the toys, which is great for a show and toy line that is now like 6 years in for them to still be kind of improving on stuff that.
The only things I ever bought up until basically the Guardians of Harmony fan series were the Funko, not the pop ones, but the normal regular ones, because they were probably the closest to being show accurate.
Yeah, the Funko ones, and those were always good. They still look great. They had really good molds on those.
I got every single one of them, and then they stopped making them, and they were about to make a Chrysalis. God damn it! That's all right. I got the fan series Chrysalis coming, which probably actually looks a lot more.
It looks awesome, a lot better.
Of course, well, hopefully the Guardians of Harmony Chrysalis makes up for that.
Yeah, like I have that one too. The Guardians of Harmony Chrysalis one. That's obviously a much smaller one. That was an actual toy and has some articulation and some stuff you can shoot out of it as well. So that's all the new toys that were released for the beginning of the year here. I'm kind of interested to see as we go through the year and get obviously closer to the movie in October if we're going to see more toys released or if they'll kind of just rebrand the toys we have with the My Little Pony movie logo. I was actually kind of expecting maybe some of the ones they were releasing now would have the movie logo on it, but I guess not yet. So we'll see what happens with that, but we'll definitely probably be seeing more of those as the year goes on.
I'm expecting a My Little Pony flood when the movie comes out. I mean,
Yeah.
Hasbro would be kind of crazy not to.
I mean, that's kind of why they're making the movie, is to sell toys. So I would expect so. So let's go on to the next. I think the final piece of merchandise news here that we have. This one I didn't even know that this was coming out until it was posted on Equestria Daily last week. There was a new kids Equestria Girls book released. Usually this wouldn't really be news, and I kind of got some of the GM Barrow ones, but I don't really follow the books that much. A lot of them are really written for, like, obviously beginner readers and stuff like that. But this one is just I found kind of interesting because it is the Human World, Celestia and Luna's journal from when they were attending Canterlot High as teenagers, which is kind of interesting. Sort of maybe like the Journal of the Two Pony Sisters, but in the Equestria Girls world. And so I haven't read this. I haven't ordered it yet. I might. It's 144 pages, published by Little Brown Books. It's available on Amazon. But it was kind of an interesting thing, kind of thinking about them, Celestia and Luna, attending high school as students back in the day.
Yeah, I got the original Journey. Look into getting the this one too.
Yeah, the Journal of the Pony. If you don't have the Journal of Pony Sisters, I definitely recommend getting that. It's a pretty good read. It's written by Amy Keating Rogers. So there was that one.
I just like the idea that it's a diary. So I'm just gonna, dear diary, Luna still won't bloody open her curtain. She says that she prefers it to be dark in here.
There's a lot of really good books about it. Some of my favorite are the Journal of the Two Pony Sisters is a really good one. There's a Wonderbolts one that was released recently in the same kind of style as the journal and the original Elements of Harmony guidebook that were released. There's a really cool one that I have, which is The Art of My Little Pony, which is actually like a behind-the-scenes book about My Little Pony. And has, like, interviews with Lauren Faust and the rest of the creators, and a bunch of concept art and storyboards from episodes and art from episodes and other concept art and drawings and a bunch of behind the scenes info. It's really, really cool. It's something that another kind of thing that I would never have expected to be made for My Little Pony. I guess kind of shows how good the show is to have an actual art book made out of it. But I would definitely recommend picking that up if it's still available, because that was a really cool look behind the show. It was actually really cool seeing some of the storyboards and for a few of the parts of a few episodes in it as well.
I've still got to read my Daring Do books.
I know I haven't. I still haven't. There's so many books I have to read those. Still have to finish the newest Harry Potter book thing, and I still have to finish reading M.A. Larson's books. I really fallen behind, but I just don't have enough time in the day.
Pennyroyal Academy.
Yeah. So yeah. But yeah, I mean, just merchandise-wise, Hasbro's really picking up the game in terms of what they're putting out. I mean, that and all the CDs and the last Christmas album actually got a solid release, and the movie's going to be all orchestrated with a live orchestra. So I really hope they release a soundtrack for that on CD as well, because that's going to sound great.
They should release the film on Laserdisc. I will only accept the film on Laserdisc.
It's the only way. Browser decided to crash. So,
and it also has to be released on a PlayStation disc, just like a Phoenix Games Dingo Pictures movie.
No, it has to be released on a UMD. We're really doing out-of-date technology.
No, mini disc.
Oh God.
8-track player.
Yeah, I was just say 8-track tape. I would buy a My Little Pony album on 8-track. I would.
Well, I'd buy the movie soundtrack on vinyl. Just for the collectability.
I have all of the My Little Pony vinyls, so I guess I would too. So
bonus points if they actually release the movie on Betamax.
VHS.
Well, Sony is the one that's releasing the album, so.
Yeah, but Lionsgate are the ones doing the distribution of the film in cinemas. I don't know who they're gonna.
I know it was a joke.
Of the film for home. It'll be interesting to see who they use for home media actually, or whether because do Hasbro have their own? I mean, I'm gonna guess
Shout
in
Factory.
America, I mean, yeah, in America, I'm guessing it's going to be Shout Factory. It'd be interesting to see who they get for the UK.
The movie will be distributed by Lionsgate on DVD. Usually, the movie studios handle that.
Yeah.
So, moving on to the next our next category here. Moving on from merch news, we're going to do some fandom news. We have a little bit of fandom news, and so we'll kind of get to our first story here, which is. Coming off of YouTube, Silly Philly Studios is no longer animating full-time. Silly Philly Studios, from a lot of their works, Snowdrop and what was the other one? I just remember Snowdrop because everyone always made fun of it. But they had a lot of animated fan works. Unfortunately, they are not going to be animating full-time anymore on a lot of their projects, and a lot of their projects have been put on hold. Due to the new YouTube algorithm changes that they've had. If you don't follow that, there's YouTube has changed their algorithms more recently, which is affecting a lot of creators, especially ones that don't put out videos that often, because their videos aren't being featured on the front page or in subscriber feeds, and also subscribers are being unsubscribed from channels automatically as well. But pretty much what they said in their video, which you can see on their YouTube channel, SFS Animation, is just pretty much saying that it doesn't favor content. The new algorithm doesn't favor content which takes time to produce, much like animation does. Obviously, animation takes a lot of time to produce, and they are not getting the exposure, and they show some graphs about how their views have dropped and their income based on those views from ad revenue has dropped. So they're not getting the necessary exposure anymore to recoup the costs of all the time that they're putting in to the animations.
Is that necessarily YouTube's fault, or is it because the fandom just isn't watching as much of this sort of content? I mean, it's kind of difficult to really say.
No, it's because of YouTube. Because YouTube isn't featuring. YouTube is featuring channels which produce shorter content a lot more frequently, rather than longer form content or less frequent content. So it's not showing people those items in the suggestions anymore like they used to.
You mean it's sort of a bit like how Steam is flooded with all these Steam greenlight pieces of shit, and all the good stuff is like hidden away, and you have to try and look for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
So they say they are exploring other options. They were exploring VidMe, but obviously it doesn't quite have the viewer base, so you run into the same problem there in terms of not being able to get viewers for your work, as well as other animators that are a part of SFS Animation are also still posting individual work on their individual channels that they might be featuring on the main channel at points as well. Yep, and that's pretty much what YouTube is they're favoring people who are putting out content a lot more frequently, and shorter form content, just more ad revenue, more monies for YouTube, even if it is spammy. Yeah, they really need YouTube. Unfortunately, I mean, there's some alternatives, but it's a matter of, it's kind of like a catch-22. You could try to go to an alternative site, but viewers aren't necessarily going to be going there. So it's kind of until you get like a viewer-based shift. And right now YouTube obviously is kind of screwing more over creators rather than viewers. So let's see. I think we have another final other, not really fandom news, but other news here that came out a few weeks ago. There is a restaurant in the Netherlands which is serving My Little Pony burgers, which you can see a picture of on the side with this little flag with a pony on it.
Made from horse meat, even what I understand.
Yeah, I mean exactly. It's like actual My Little Pony burgers. The burgers are made from aging ponies from the Netherlands amusement park Slaghorn. Sorry for the butchering that, but it's from aging ponies from that amusement park. A quote from the article's author. This was posted originally on Vice. The author stated that when the burger is served, I catch myself feeling a bit nauseous from the idea of eating old horse meat. I'm not a meat eater, but this is a damn good burger, and I tell them surprising myself. So I guess it tastes okay. It's a little weird though. I don't think most people. I don't think that's something they normally serve in most places.
Yeah, I know I have not had horse meat, but I understand it's not that bad, all things considering.
Would Rainbow Dash taste awesome? They could put her on the front and just put and have the tagline "Taste the Rainbow," except for the fact that they didn't get sued by Mars because they already used that for Skittles.
I'll stick to my cow. Well, I can kind of move on here. I'm getting towards the end of the show here. I was aiming for an hour. We got about 10 minutes left, so going pretty well. So we're going to go to the next section here, where we're just going to feature a few different kind of art and other media from the fandom. So we have a couple pieces of art that we selected to kind of feature and really quick as kind of a short end to our shows here. So we'll sort of be featuring a few at the end of every show. Not really spending a ton of time on it, but at least feature a few different ones here. So the first one is by an artist that I always look a lot of. I'm really gonna butcher the name. Utapo, I believe. Utapo.
Uotapo, I think it is.
Uotapo. Yeah. Okay. Always like their work. They have some really good humanized versions of a lot of the characters here. So this is from their Full Formal Princess competition sports segment, number 7, Cheerily, which I guess love this one with the kind of Big Mac and Marble, right? Marble Pie. So I need to rewatch season 5. In the background there, sort of at the bar, and Cheerily's not looking too happy about it.
I wonder what they're saying in the background. Let me guess. Is it yep? Mm-hmm. Yep. Mm-hmm.
It's probably a very enthralling conversation.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess really, I always like their work here, and definitely check out their DeviantArt page for more of this stuff. They've been doing this for a while now, and have a lot of great different stuff. A lot of good character in it as well. I mean, it's more than just a fan drawing here. I mean, there's actually sort of like a little story going on that you can kind of tell what's going on in the picture, which I really like. Let's see. And one other one that I wanted to feature today, which is this really awesome map of Equestria, done in like a Google Maps style by Gigan3208. So yeah, this is obviously done in a very much like a Google Maps or Apple Maps, MapQuest kind of online map style. for it versus the more cartoony show style that the official map is on. And I think they did a really good job of it. They have all the roads, all the waters and mountains in there, and of course all of the different labels in the right place as well. I'd love to see someone actually kind of make this into like a custom map into Google Maps as well. But it's kind of as I don't know, I really like it. And I've always kind of liked the show map as well when they finally put that out, just because it just gives you a nice overview of where everything is, and it's nice to see how expansive the world is as well. All the best sort of fictional worlds put out a good map of where everything is.
I want to go to Trottingham.
Yeah, we really need to go to some of those places in the future. There's so many places on here to explore. I really hope we see more of them this coming season. Didn't quite see as many as I would have liked last season, so we did get to see Las Pegasus though, which was really cool. But I'd love to see more faraway places, like when we went to Griffinstone in season 5, or Yakistan.
We saw Griffinstone in season 6 briefly in the Gilder episode. Not Gilder episode.
Yeah, well, it was a flat. I guess technically it was a flashback, but yeah, briefly.
Well, don't worry. Well, I'm sure we'll be seeing a ton of far off places this year, so we'll just have to see how it goes.
Jeez. Well, let's move on to our final segment here, which is kind of a Q&A session, viewer questions. And so we're going to kind of start off with a question we're going to pose to everyone here, just so we can discuss it really quick. This one was posed by Matt the Shadow Man here. So the question is, what could Hasbro do to keep interest in the show during hiatus periods? And kind of as a side question there, should they split showing the Equestria Girls during MLBP's off-season rather than during the show itself, like they do right now? Like, pretty much the past 2 seasons, they've had Equestria Girls in the middle of the season, which is a little different from before when they were showing it during the summer. So what does everyone else what does everyone think about that?
What was the question again?
What could Hasbro do to keep interest in the show during hiatus periods?
Oh yeah, I suppose I agree with Technotron in the chat room. Yeah, MLP shorts would probably be a good idea.
Kind of similar to what they did with the Equestria Girl stuff when Rainbow Rocks and Friendship Games came out.
Yeah,
that's still want that
possibility.
Dance Magic short, by the way. Where's that Dance Magic short?
There was actually that was one of the really cool things leading up to season 5 is when they released all those video shorts after Rainbow Rocks to kind of hold that tide over.
Still think Friendship Through the Ages is one of the best songs in the whole of G4.
I just like all the styles it goes through. It's really shows the sort of how Ingram can really transcend to different genres of music. Well, I mean, they show plenty of reruns. If you look at Discovery Family, it's like their main show they show on there. Only show they have anymore. They get plenty of reruns, and they run the Equestria Girls movies surprisingly often there. Of course, they just had that big New Year's Day marathon on the 31st. A bi-weekly episode would be an interesting concept as well. I don't know which one I prefer. I do like what they're doing now. I'm glad that they're not showing all the seasons in one sort of long shot and then having a long hiatus. They seem to have gotten into a really good groove right now over the past 2 seasons of starting in the spring, showing the first half of the season, having a little mid-season hiatus, showing the last half of the season in the fall, and then having a shorter hiatus than we had in the past, going back to the spring. It definitely shortens it a lot more than it used to, like especially when we were going from season 4 to season 5. I definitely think they got into a nice groove, and I'm happy we're having season 7 like pretty, fairly quickly, just like how we got season 6. I think from a production standpoint, they might be able to do an episode every other week and just have it continuously run. I'm not sure. It depends kind of on how their production goes and when stuff is greenlit and when stuff starts getting worked on. That might not quite be possible to do it every other week without having a hiatus, just from episode production standpoint and greenlighting new seasons standpoint.
To say, I'm also really glad that DFC is not doing kind of like what Cartoon Network and the creators of Steven Universe is, because I would much rather have what we've been doing, kind of like where you said, where we'll have one half of the season, then like the little mini hiatus, and then the next half, rather than just waiting like a year or two and then all of a sudden, bam, just like pony bomb and just have like episode after episode after episode after episode, like right after that. That's just kind of a little overwhelming to me, a little bit.
Pony, especially the past couple seasons, Pony has probably been one of the most consistently scheduled animated shows airing.
The only one that has exactly the same kind of airing schedule is Thunderbirds Are Go in the UK.
Yeah.
That has 13 episodes, a mini hiatus, 13 episodes, slightly longer hiatus.
Unlike Danger Mouse, which is a little closer to the Cartoon Network.
That was pretty sporadic.
I really don't think anything will top. Well, maybe Gravity Falls. Gravity Falls, they kind of spread it, but that was a little different reason. They were just trying to spread the show out, being it was only 2 seasons. Well, that's pretty funny. You have 2 seasons over like 4 years there for Gravity Falls. That had a lot of like one episode, then big hiatus, another episode, then an even larger hiatus. But I really don't think anything will top Steven Universe, where they had no episodes for months, and then we're going to have an episode every day for a month. So what? Why? That's so inconvenient.
What I just don't understand. Yeah, it's just,
Why not? Why couldn't you have just shown an episode every other week like they had been doing on Thursdays for the past 3-4 months?
Or they could do what they've done this month, announce that they're going to show the episodes at the end of the month, and then at the beginning of the month, let's just release them all online.
Yeah. You know what I really hope happens? I would love to see them air the episode at the same time in the UK as they do in the US, because it's a Saturday, it's in the afternoon in the UK. They could air it at the same time as the US, and as long as they don't say cider in the episode, everything's good. But I would really love to see them do it. I mean, from a marketing perspective from Hasbro, and from a ratings perspective from DFC and the Tiny Pop over in the UK, it would make sense if you're able to, and since there's no translations involved, you should be able to, being that they're airing them beforehand there at the end of this past season. Why not just show them at the same time in both the US and the UK? People would actually be able to watch them on your network rather than getting them from somewhere else and not watching them on your network. It would just make so much more sense, especially on a Saturday. So I would hope they would do something like that, because that would be pretty cool. Obviously, you can't do that for every country, because a lot of other countries, there's translations involved in dubs. But for English-speaking countries, why not?
I've been saying that for years, though. I mean, some shows absolutely ludicrous. I think I can tell you now, Dan Versus has still never been released in the UK. That's just sad.
Yeah, but that's probably has something to do with just the company not writing that off and not wanting to spend any more money on it. But that would kind of solve both problems, if they're able to do that. In terms of, what Hasbro could do to keep interest also in the hiatus, I mean, if they were able to do some sort of shorts, I think that, having some sort of short form content would be nice. I really think that I'm loving the idea of splitting the next Equestria Girl stuff into like 3 different episode size shorts. It would have been cool if production wise they were able to get maybe one of those shorts ready before, and maybe we still have a couple months left, who knows what could happen, but at least one of those shorts, and show them before the show starts. Like, use those Equestria Girls shorts, at least maybe 1 or 2 of them as a holdover until the new show, instead of just showing them all overlapping at once. be interesting to see how they're going to release the shorts as well. If they're going to, I don't think they've said how, if it's going to be something on DFC or if it's going to be like the previous movie and be being released on Netflix. But to be truthful, I'd love to see them maybe do some more short form content like that, or maybe rearrange some of the Equestria Girls stuff for the hiatus to keep people interested. But I think having the split schedule like we do now with the mid-season hiatus and just having 2 shorter hiatuses rather than one long one helps immensely on its own. Oops. So that's the end for the viewer questions. So just really quick, if for future shows here, if you have any questions you want to ask, there's a couple links here on the screen. You can do it at brony.co/CQask. If you want capital C, capital Q, and then lowercase ask. If you want to ask us a question, or if you have any news or fan works, artwork, videos, anything else that you would like us to feature on the show for us to discuss, obviously it should be something that's worth discussing. We're not just trying to say the news, we're trying to discuss something. So if you have anything that's worth discussing or worth showing off, you can send it to brony.co/CCQ, lowercase submit, and submit stuff there. Both of those link to our Tumblr. It's just the easiest way for us to organize everything. So you can submit it anonymously. I prefer it if you at least give your IC name so we can credit you with submitting it in. But you can do those. You can submit them directly to our Tumblr, or ask a question to our Tumblr, and we can answer it on the next show. For whatever reason you don't want to use that, you don't have to have a Tumblr account to use it. So if you really no reason not to. If for whatever reason you can't, you can also send it to our email, linked on our site, contactcq@googlegroups.com if you want. But this will be sending it here is going to be a lot easier for us to keep it organized for us. So again, there's those links. Once I get the show page for this show. For that week, This Week in Pony up on the site, those will also be linked on there and on the front page as well. I'm just running a little behind in that, but that will be up in the next few days as I get some more time coming into January here. So with that, just again, thank you so much for joining us for the first episode here of This Week in Pony. We're kind of trying to keep this a little shorter than a lot of our other things, maybe like an hour, so it's easier to watch and participate in, rather than going on for 2 or 3 hours. Very probably based on how much news we have. This isn't going to be a weekly show like a lot of our other ones are, because there's not usually a lot of news coming out that's going to warrant that. So it might be bi-weekly, it might be every 3 weeks. It depends on how much news there is, how much there's stuff there is that's worth discussing. So we'll let you know on the website and on our calendar and in chat when we know when we're going to have another show. But it will be on probably a Monday in the future, in the coming weeks, once new news about the show starts to make its way out. And as we get closer to April or whenever season 7 is going to be beginning, we'll have a lot more to talk about then. So again, a couple other things coming up this week before we call it quits here for today. Tomorrow at 5 p.m. we will be having a new Equine episode examination, where we'll be starting up season 4 on our episode flashback discussion and talking about Princess Twilight Sparkle. So been wanting to talk about season 4 for a while now, so I'm really happy to be able to start talking about that before we get into season 7. So that's coming up at 5 p.m. tomorrow, and we'll let you know what we'll be doing for not this weekend's, but the following weekend's CQ Riffs. We'll let you know what we'll be doing this weekend, so make sure you come around for that, and we'll let you know for that. So anyway, thanks for joining us for our first This Week in Pony. Thankfully not too much went wrong, and we'll get better at this as time goes on. Again, please send us any news you want to discuss, especially artwork, or if you find any videos or other media that you want to discuss. That's something that it is a little time consuming to find. So if you happen across anything, please send it in to us. It'll help us out, and we'll make sure to give you credit for sending it in. So anyway, thanks for joining us, everyone. Have a great evening, and we'll see you around. Bye-bye.